Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. Today's video is a collab with Katt at Southern Farm and Kitchen. I'm sure you're probably already familiar with her channel, but if not, I'll have it linked in my description box below. As soon as you're done watching my video, make sure you head on over to her channel, show her some love, and let her know that I sent you. I really love Katt's content and her channel. She is funny, she's down to earth, she's super sweet, but she's honest. And like I said, I just love watching her videos. We've tried several of her recipes or different grocery items that she has recommended, and we have loved it all. She does what's for dinner videos, recipes, grocery hauls. Every once in a while, she'll do like a day in the life type videos. So like I said, I know you'll love her content. Head on over to her channel and subscribe to her if you're not already. If you're coming to my channel from Katt's, welcome. Like I said, my name is Megan. I do content kind of similar to Katt. I do weekly what's for dinner videos, grocery hauls, and other recipes. So if you like those types of videos, take a look around my channel and subscribe if you like what you see. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you what we had for dinner this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal inspiration for your family, just keep watching. For dinner this first night, I'm going to make some French toast. Here's what I'm using tonight to make this. First, I'm using this apple bread. We got this from Mercer Orchards back when we went to Georgia for my husband's birthday. I had put it into the freezer and I just pulled it out and thawed it. For French toast, really you can use any kind of bread. Use whatever you've got on hand, whatever your family likes. It's also a great way to use up bread that has gotten a little bit stale on you. So for the mixture for the French toast, I've got some eggs, milk. You could also use almond milk or heavy cream, whipping cream, half and half, whatever you've got. I like to add in a little splash of vanilla and then some cinnamon. Now, normally when I make French toast, I add quite a bit of cinnamon, sometimes a little pinch of nutmeg and a little bit of sugar. But with this bread, it's already pretty heavily flavored with cinnamon and apple, and it has a glaze on it. So I'm going to skip the sugar and add just a tiny bit of cinnamon. Once the French toast is done, I'm going to sprinkle it with a little bit of powdered sugar and add a little bit of butter and some maple syrup. And then I'm also going to cook up some bacon to go with the French toast. All right, let me show you how I put this together. Now this bread was not pre-sliced, so I just took a serrated knife and cut the bread into about 6 slices. Now for the French toast. To make the kind of dunking mixture, I'm going to add in some cinnamon and milk. Now if you've made French toast before, you've probably had this happen where if you add cinnamon or nutmeg, it kind of floats to the top. So recently on one of Taylor Elmore's videos, I'll have her channel linked down below. She shared this little hack where if you take the cinnamon and add just a tiny little bit of milk and whisk it and then slowly add in more milk, the cinnamon kind of incorporates better and doesn't float as much. Now, I wasn't as patient as Taylor was, so I didn't do it as slowly as she did. So it didn't work as well as hers did, but it still worked pretty well. So I'll definitely try that again. So once I've got my cinnamon and milk added, I'm going to add the eggs and whisk them really well. Then I'm going to add in my splash of vanilla, and then that's it. We're ready to dip our bread. So I've got my skillet over about medium heat. I'm going to add some butter, and then I'm going to take my bread slices and dip them into the egg mixture. Now, a lot of people just kind of like dip one side, dip the other real quick, but I like to kind of let my slice of bread set in the egg mixture to allow it to kind of soak into the middle of the bread. And this is kind of hard to explain, but I know when it's ready when like I'll touch the bread with my fingers and they kind of smush in a little bit. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but that's the only way I know how to explain it. Like I can tell that the egg has soaked through the middle of the bread. So I'm going to cook this for maybe 3 or 4 minutes per side until it's golden brown. Once one side is nice and golden brown, I'm going to flip it and cook it on the other side, and then the French toast will be done. Several weeks ago, I saw this little contraption over on Moss Family TV. It's a bacon cooker. You cook this in the microwave. She found theirs, I think she said at Ollie's. I went to Ollie's a couple weeks ago and didn't see it, but I looked on Amazon. I'll have the link in the description box below for it. This was really cool. I thought that this would be good for my husband and I because it holds about 4 slices of bacon, which is the perfect amount for us for, you know, breakfast in the morning with our eggs or to go on a burger or something like that. So all you do is lay out your bacon and then cover it with the lid, put it into the microwave. The instructions said to cook it for 4 minutes. but it really made the bacon super crispy. And I like my bacon crispy, but this was a little too crispy even for me. So I just need to play around with the time a little bit, but this was awesome. It didn't make a mess in the microwave. It was super quick. And like I said, the bacon was crispy. So I'll have that linked down below, but I'm just going to cook up some bacon. And then here is the French toast. To serve it, I just cut them into triangles. Again, added some of the powdered sugar, a little pat of butter, and some maple syrup. And then we've got the bacon, and I served this with some fresh strawberries, and this was delicious. So good. Now, the next two dinners were off meal plan. This particular day was a Saturday, and my husband and I had our wedding anniversary the next day. On this day, though, we were going to go out for dinner and celebrate it. But my husband was not feeling well at all, and so we just decided to order pizza. I actually had a coupon for Marco's Pizza, and it was a really, really great deal. I think it was like a one-topping pizza, a specialty pizza, their cheese bread for like $20 or something like that. So it was a really good deal, and I didn't want the coupon to go to waste. And that was the last day that it was good for. So we just ordered pizza, and then we watched a movie and just kind of chilled and relaxed, and he got to rest. So that was our dinner this night. The next day was our anniversary, and I knew my husband wasn't feeling well because right at dinner time, which I had plans on making a nice dinner for us, but right at dinner time, he was like, yeah, I think I need to go to the doctor. And normally I have to drag him kicking and screaming to see a doctor. So we went to an urgent care facility, and by the time, they looked at him and treated him and all that jazz, it was getting kind of late. So we just grabbed McDonald's through the drive-thru. I got their Big Mac meal. He got the double quarter pounder with cheese meal, and that was our anniversary dinner. Not romantic at all, not planned, but you know what? Life happens, and you just have to roll with the punches and not get upset about it. I think back to when we were first married, our first year. If you would have told me, 12 or 13 years from now, you'll be eating McDonald's for your anniversary dinner, I'd be like, no way. But again, life happens. And, I try to keep it real on my channel. I show you what we have for dinner, whether it's a home cooked meal, whether we eat out, whether we eat cereal or trail mix for dinner. Just to let you know it's okay. I think sometimes we stress ourselves out and we feel kind of shame when we see people on YouTube or Instagram or other social media cooking dinner for their families every single night from scratch. But that's just not realistic for everyone. And as long as you're getting dinner on the table for you and your family, no matter what your family looks like, even if your family is just, is yourself. But that's all that matters. So again, wanted to keep it real with you and show you our anniversary dinner. Fancy schmancy McDonald's. That was our dinner this night. The next day was Memorial Day, and I grilled out some hamburgers for us. And before I get into that, though, I do want to just say, because I know I have the sweetest, kindest subscribers in the entire world, I know several of you will ask and worry about my husband. He's fine. It was just an upper respiratory infection. The doctor said that he has seen this quite often, a couple weeks or so after people get over the C word, which if you've been a subscriber of mine for a while, you'll know we had the C word back at the beginning of May into about the middle of May. So that's all it was. He got a steroid shot and just needed some rest and fluids and stuff. He is feeling better. So again, I know you all are so sweet, and I didn't want you all to worry about him. All right, let me show you what I made for dinner this night. I'm going to make some deviled eggs. I've shared how I do this before on my channel. I have a separate video for it. I'll link it in the description box below. They're super easy. All I do is boil up some eggs. And if you don't want to deal with the hassle of boiling the eggs or peeling them, you can just buy the already cooked hard-boiled eggs you can find in the grocery store. Now, most people do their deviled eggs a little bit differently. Here's how I like mine. Make yours your own. In addition to the eggs, which I halved and removed the yolks to a separate bowl, I like to add in a little salt, pepper, mayonnaise, mustard, some sweet relish, and sometimes I'll add in just a little bit of pickle juice. Not a lot, just a little, maybe like a half a tablespoon. I take a fork and mash up the yolks and then just add in the mayonnaise, mustard, salt, pepper, relish, and pickle juice according to my taste, and then place the mixture into the egg halves. You can be fancy and do it in a piping bag. I just use a spoon for my family. We're not super fancy. And then I like to sprinkle it with a little paprika, and that's it. Those are my deviled eggs. I had some fresh produce in my fridge that I really needed to use up, so I looked on Pinterest. I found a recipe for a garden macaroni salad. It's from the Southern Lady Cooks. I'll have it linked in the description box below, and it called for a lot of the stuff that I needed to use up, so I decided to try it. Here is what you're going to need. So we've got some mayonnaise, some elbow macaroni, salt, pepper. You need some chopped ham. I like to buy a ham steak and cut it up into cubes myself, but you can use already cubed ham from the grocery store if you'd prefer. For the vegetables, we've got some chopped onion. The recipe called for celery, but if you've been a subscriber of mine, you know I do not like celery, so I skipped that. I did have some red bell pepper on hand, though, that I needed to use up, so I chopped that up instead. And then I'm going to shred some carrots, chop up some radishes, chop up some tomatoes and cucumbers, and then put this together. In this bowl, I have my macaroni noodles. I cooked them in salted water according to the package instructions, drained off the water, ran the noodles under cold water, and then drained it again, placed it into the bowl, and then added my chopped veggies and my ham. Next, I added in the mayonnaise, salt, and pepper, and then I'm going to cover this with a lid, and I placed this into the refrigerator for about 30 or 45 minutes. Here's what I'm going to use for the burgers. I got these bacon and cheddar cheese black Angus burgers from Aldi a couple months ago. They've been in my freezer. I need to use them up. Now, according to the package instructions on the back, if you're grilling them, you do not need to thaw them, so they're still frozen. I've got some sliced sharp cheddar cheese slices that I need to use. And then to season the burgers, I'm going to add some salt. And then I got some of this buttery steakhouse seasoning from Kinder's that I wanted to try. And once the burgers are done, I'm going to brush both sides with a little bit of barbecue sauce. This is just the Sweet Baby Ray's. You can use your favorite. Here are the buns that I'm going to use. These are the brioche Sam's Choice. I got these from Walmart, and I'm going to add a little of the Country Crock quote-unquote butter and toast those up on the grill. All right, so I've got the buns and my burgers on the grill. Like I said, I just seasoned both sides with some of that buttery steakhouse seasoning and salt. And once the burgers came off, I put some sliced cheese on some of the burgers. And then I wanted to show this again, keeping it real. I burnt my buns, the tops of the buns. They don't maybe look so burnt in this picture, but trust me, they were burnt and they tasted burnt. All right, here are the finished burgers. And then for the other side, I made some 6-bean casserole. I just shared this recipe in a video. I'll have it linked in the description box below. It makes a ton. So what I did was I divided the bean casserole up into different quart-sized bags and put it into my freezer. So for Memorial Day, I had just thawed the beans and then I just warmed them up in a pot over the stove. Here's that macaroni salad, and then we've got all the fixins for the burgers. My husband requested bacon, so I cooked that in that little piggy microwave cooker. We've got some ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, pickles, some lettuce, tomato, and then in this little bowl here, we had some caprese pasta salad left over. My husband isn't a big bean fan, so I knew he would probably prefer this over the beans. That caprese pasta salad is in the same video as that 6-bean casserole. And then we've got the deviled eggs. Here are the plates. Everything was delicious, so good. Now, I will say, though, for that macaroni salad, my husband and I, it was good, but we did feel like it was lacking a little bit of flavor. I added some of the Auntie Nono's everything seasoning, and that helped. But I think next time I make this, I would make it like how I make my macaroni salad normally, which is to take the mayonnaise and you add a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of sugar, salt, pepper, and like some mustard and relish, and do it that way. I think it would be delicious. It was still good, but I think it just needed a little extra flavor. But that was our dinner this night, and we had leftovers for lunch the next day. So good. And a quick note, those burgers with that buttery steakhouse seasoning was amazing, so good. For dessert, I made some of these red, white, and blue little trifles. These were so good, so easy, and quick to put together. I'll be sharing these with you in a video coming out, I believe, this upcoming Thursday, so keep an eye out for that. For dinner the next night, I made fajitas. I don't follow a recipe when I make these. I just use whatever sounds good to me that day. I had 2 of these sirloin steaks in my freezer. This was from a Good Chop order I did a while back. I wanted to use those up and get those out of my freezer. And I also had this little bag of shrimp in my freezer. Again, it was just leftovers from a bigger bag that I had, and I wanted to use those up as well. Here are the seasonings that I'm going to use. Again, use whatever seasonings you prefer or what you've got on hand. I am going to use some of this buttery steakhouse seasoning again. It was so good on the burgers, I thought it would be good on the fajitas. A little bit of adobo and some taco seasoning. And then we've also got these frozen vegetables. I got these at Trader Joe's. It's roasted bell peppers and onions, so I'm going to use those. I'm going to start by toasting and warming up my tortillas. These are the ones that I'm using tonight. Just use whatever your favorite kind of tortilla is. You could use flour or corn, really doesn't matter. My cast iron skillet has no fat or anything in it. It's just on about medium-high heat, and I'm going to cook the tortillas for maybe 15-20 seconds on each side until they start to get a little bit brown. Once they come off the heat, I'm going to place them in aluminum foil to keep them warm. In that same skillet, again, it's over about medium-high heat, and there you saw me turning on the exhaust fan because I knew things would get a little smoky. I've got some oil and a little pat of butter in the skillet. I'm going to add the steak, and I just seared the steak on one side and then flipped it over, seared it on the other side. We like our steak about medium, so I'm not really concerned about cooking it all the way through, but you can cook it, you know, if you like it well done, go ahead and cook it as far as you want to cook it. But once that steak is seared, I'm going to remove it to a separate bowl and then add a little bit more oil, a little bit more butter, and then add in my shrimp. And I seasoned my steak and my shrimp with the Kinder's Buttery Steakhouse seasoning, a little bit of the adobo, a little adobo goes a long way, and a little bit of the taco seasoning. So that's the seasoning on the meat. Once the shrimp are seared, I've removed those as well, and I'm going to add again just a tiny little bit of butter and oil, and then I'm going to add in those frozen vegetables. And I cooked the vegetables for a few minutes. I seasoned them with the same seasonings, and I just cooked them until they were warm all the way through and most of the water was gone. You know, these are frozen vegetables, so there's a little bit of water that comes out. I just cooked them until, again, that water was gone, and then once that happened, I added in the shrimp and steak, stirred that together, and then allowed it to cook for just a minute or two, and then that's it. The fajita, you know, meat and vegetables will be done. And here's the finished steak, shrimp, and vegetables. This was delicious, had such good flavor. I made some quick queso dip. I first saw this on Love Missy XO's channel. I'll have it linked in the description box below. She and I actually collabed on last week's What's for Dinner video, so I'll have that linked down below as well in case you missed it. This is so easy. All you do is put some whipping cream. You can also use half and half milk. I've even made this with almond milk before. It still turned out just fine. Some sliced white American cheese, diced green chilies, or you could use pickled jalapenos. I like to add in a little salt and cumin on about medium-low or low heat. Just cook this until the cheese is melted, and that's it. Super easy. All right, here I just set out a bunch of stuff. Wasn't sure exactly what we would want. I've got some guacamole and pico. Of course, you can make your own. I've shared homemade versions before on my channel, but I just bought it from Walmart this time. I had some shredded mozzarella cheese on hand that needed to be used up. I know it doesn't really fit with fajitas, but hey, it's shredded cheese. It works. We've got some Baja sauce, some taco sauce, hot sauce, sour cream, some of the Trader Joe's salsa, some lettuce, and then this was our first time trying these kettle cooked tortilla chips, and they were good. I would definitely get those again. All right, here is a picture of my plate. So I have the fajita tortillas. For my fajitas, I keep it simple. I just added some of the meat and vegetables, a little shredded cheese, some guacamole, pico, and I think that's all I put on mine. And then I've got some queso and guacamole and chips for dipping. These fajitas were so good. They were delicious. For dinner this night, I tried a new recipe for BBQ Chicken Kebabs with bacon and pineapple. Doesn't that sound delicious? As always, I'll have the recipe linked in the description box below. To get started, I'm going to marinate the chicken. So I took 2 chicken breasts from this larger package of chicken. I cut the chicken into chunks. I added it to a Ziploc bag, and I'm going to add some barbecue sauce. I'm using the Sweet Baby Ray's. Use whatever your favorite barbecue sauce is. I decided to also add some seasonings. This, the recipe didn't call for. I decided to use these Kinder seasonings, the barbecue seasoning, and again, the Buttery Steakhouse. Y'all are going to get sick of me saying this, but that Buttery Steakhouse seasoning was so good. So I just could not refrain from using it again. Again, just added the seasonings to the Ziploc bag and placed it into the refrigerator. I think I marinated these for a couple hours. You can do it up to overnight. Here's what you'll need to assemble the actual kebabs. So I have the marinated chicken, some pineapple chunks. You could use fresh, of course, that would be delicious, but all I had was canned on hand. So I just drained that really well. And then you'll need some partially cooked bacon. I placed the bacon on that same little piggy microwave cooker and cooked it in the microwave for I think like 2 minutes. And then you'll of course need some kind of skewer. I am going to use metal skewers that I spray with a little cooking spray. If you use wooden skewers, just make sure that you soak them for at least 30 minutes in water before you put them on your grill. For one of my sides, I tried a new recipe for, quote, the best corn casserole. This is from the plain chicken. I'll again have it linked in the description box below. The oven is preheating to 350 degrees. In a blender or food processor, you're going to want to add your thawed corn, egg, flour, sugar, softened butter, and cayenne pepper. And a quick note, I am halving the recipe. You'll want to pulse this a few times until the corn is creamed, and then we are going to pour that into a large bowl. Now, once we've added it to the large bowl, we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. So we're going to add the rest of the corn, part of the cheese and bacon, and we're going to stir that until it's combined really well. Now, a quick note here, I was feeling lazy this day, and I used this little, I don't know, it's like a little personal blender, but it's old and it's not very powerful, and so it really didn't cream the corn. So next time I'll make this, I would definitely recommend using a better blender or one of my food processors to make sure that corn gets creamed. This was good, but it was a little bit dry, and again, it's because I didn't cream the corn correctly. So once that mixture is well combined, I'm going to place it into a greased casserole dish. I'm going to add the rest of the shredded cheese, and then this is going to go into the oven and bake for about 30 minutes. For my other side, I'm making some cheesy vegetables. It just sounded good to me, and I haven't had it in forever. I have this bag of California-style vegetables. It's got broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots. I'm going to cook this in the microwave according to the package instructions, drain it off, place it into a bowl, and then I'm going to add in a package of this Velveeta cheese sauce, as well as the seasoning. I found this in my pantry. It had never been opened, and I needed to start using it, so I figured now was a good time. It's the McCormick roasted garlic and herb, I believe. So here are the kebabs. I just placed them onto the grill and turned them every so few minutes. And you just want to cook these until the chicken is at least 165 degrees internal temperature. Once it was there, I brushed it with some barbecue sauce and allowed it to cook for just maybe 30 seconds or a minute. And then I'll remove that from the grill. Here are those finished cheesy vegetables. And then here's the finished corn casserole. As a little garnish, I added some chopped chives once it came out of the oven. And then we have the kebabs. I just noticed this is a very like orangey, yellowish dinner, but that's okay. You know what? Not all fruits and vegetables are green. So here are the plates. We've got some of the kebabs, the corn casserole, and the cheesy vegetables. This was delicious. Those kebabs were so good when you got a bite of the bacon and the chicken and the grilled pineapple. So good. That corn casserole, like I said, the flavor was really good. It was just a little dry, but again, I think that's my fault. And then those cheesy vegetables, simple but yummy. For the last dinner in this week's video, I made bruschetta chicken. That's how I pronounce it. I've also heard people, though, pronounce it bruschetta. Whichever way you say it, it's delicious. I didn't really follow a recipe. I'll try to find one similar to what I did and link it in the description box below. Here's what I'm going to use. So I have some chicken. I just took 2 chicken breasts and sliced them in half to make 4 cutlets. And then I'm going to make a marinade for that chicken. So in this little measuring cup, I'm going to add in some olive oil. This happens to be Tuscan herb olive oil, so it's olive oil infused with different herbs. So we've already got good seasoning and flavor there. I'm adding some balsamic vinegar, some minced garlic, Italian seasoning, a little bit of honey, some salt and pepper. And then I'm also going to add in just a little bit of Dijon mustard. I'm going to whisk that until it's combined really well. Pour that into the Ziploc bag with the chicken and place that into the refrigerator to marinate. You can really do this for as little as 30 minutes, but I marinated it overnight. It's with any marinade, the longer it marinates, the better and more flavorful it's going to be. This is the bruschetta topping for the chicken. All I did was take some tomatoes, chop them up, add some finely diced red onion, some salt, fresh basil, and then mozzarella pearls. I stirred that until it was combined really well. And then here are the plates. So all I did was grill up the chicken on the grill until it was at least 165 degrees internal temperature. I topped the chicken with that bruschetta topping, and then I used some of the Trader Joe's balsamic reduction to drizzle over the chicken. For the sides, I kept it really easy. I roasted some asparagus, just tossed asparagus with some olive oil, salt, and pepper. And then for the potatoes, I just steamed these in the microwave and then tossed them with some of the Chef Shamey's Parmesan garlic butter, and that was it. Super easy and so delicious. Everything had such great flavor. All right, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And don't forget to go check out Katt's video. And Katt, thank you so much for collabing with me. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.